future directions of the construction industry. Sustainable construction. Everywhere in the globe, they are talking about sustainable construction. So, green construction is one of the initiatives talking about sustainable construction, contributing to sustainable construction in Sri Lanka. Therefore, there is a Green Building Council initiated in Sri Lanka, and they are establishing their grading criteria. So, there are so many construction projects undergoing with these regulations and these grading criteria. And waste management plan, which is adhered by the Galle Municipal Council for demolition of building, is another significant area to be considered in sustainable construction. And most of the municipal councils in Sri Lanka, they are planning to adhere the same demolition plan in time to come. And as I have explained you earlier, Colombo Light Rail Transit System, one of the smart city development construction. It will offer an emission-free travel experience to passengers and contributing to the sustainable construction in Sri Lanka. Apart from that, Colombo Port City Development Project, actually as we have discussed earlier, is also another kind of contributor to the sustainable construction. And Western Region Megapolis Project, which I am going to explain you further in coming slides, also a significant project which contributes to the system-based construction. Actually, the Western Region Megapolis construction project goes beyond the smart city concept, and it's an urban planning, zoning and development area stretching from Negombo in the north of Berul in the south, and was formulated to a project aimed at creating a planned megapolis in Western Province by 2030. The plan hopes to create a mega city that can match other economic hubs such as Singapore, Seoul, Tokyo, and it will be a great solution for traffic congestion, garbage, slums, and environmental pollution. There are 11 sectors to be considered in the Western Region Megapolis Development Project. The first category is Aerocity Zone Katunayake. Therefore, the government is going to expand the airport area of Katunayake. They are going to build a new passenger terminal at the Katunayake area, and with the outer circular highway, they are going to make the transport efficient transport system towards Katunayake airport. And the second one is tourism and environment corridor. It's the Mutturaju Vela. They are basically focusing on the hotel industry and tourist attraction. Industrial city of Mirigama, actually it's the major consideration of this city is on small and medium scale entrepreneurship. Therefore, pharmaceuticals and some other food beverage industries will be located at Mirigama area. The second industrial city will be Horana. There we are going to establish massive projects, massive industries such as tiles, tubes, and energy generation projects. And fifth one, logistics city. Circulated by Colombo Port, we are going to have an electrified railway system as well as massive bus transportation system and ferry and boat transportation systems within the city of Colombo, and we call the area as the logistics city, and the major smart city can be seen in time to come. The other core area also expected to be developed along with this Western Region Megapolis project, and it will be moderately dense with the time being. Plantation city will be Avisavala. There we are going to expect much agricultural production and exporting facilities, and going to achieve a sustainable city. Forest city will be also located near Avisavala area, and with that also target ecotourism, go green concepts. Coastal and marine zone along the Colombo city will be also redeveloped according to the smart city concepts, and mostly the international crowd will be targeted. Science and IT city, the last consideration of the smart city concept. And we are going to locate Science and IT City from Homagama to Kaduela, and this area will be basically allocated for research and development centers on nanotechnologies, robotics, energy efficient building construction, and some other IT-related research and development. Therefore, more or less, this Western Region Megapolis project will be contributed to the smart city and the sustainable world in time to come. As the second solution of sustainable construction, prefabricated construction is also initiated in the Sri Lankan construction industry. But we cannot see mega constructions in Sri Lanka using prefabricated construction elements, but there are some apartment complex and other infrastructure facility development projects which utilize this kind of prefabricated construction element in Sri Lanka, and now it's become as initiated as an emerging trend of construction, and it gives the answer for the requirement of labor, shortage of the skilled labor in Sri Lankan construction industry. This is the transformation from brick to block, block to panels, actually block to precast concrete panels. In 1910 to 1985, we have used bricks basically for our construction, and the buildability of these bricks were around 1.5%. And then we have shifted to the lightweight blocks during 2010, and it is around 0.4%. And then in 2015 we have shifted to the panels, precast wall panels. Now the buildability of the construction process has been increased into 0.9%. And another important feature of this construction material is that we need not to have a plastering in constructing, and it will give us a better quality of wood. Therefore, these aquatic precast wall panels allow us 80% saving on labor, 40% less weight of handling. It will reduce the machinery and equipment cost, 20% savings on the formwork reinforcement, and it's 5 times faster, and it has zero cost for plastering, and it can be built at once, which speed up the construction projects. Larger coverage capacity is also possible with these panels, and it's a factory finished product, and also it eliminates vertical cutting. There's inside cores on these aquatic panels, and we can easily install the service lines using these cores. And finally, it will allow us to have a cleaner job site. So, as the initiator of precast wall panels, we are exporting our products to a number of countries, including Germany, United Kingdom, and Spain as well. The present status and the challenges and the future of Sri Lankan construction industry. Although there can be a booming of and the rapid growth of construction industry can be realized with the newly constructed projects and ongoing construction projects, there are some problems, challenges faced by the Sri Lankan construction industry. The massive challenge faced by the Sri Lankan construction industry is scarce of the materials. Cement, sand and gravel, metal, especially the reinforcement prices are drastically pricing up within the construction industry due to the scarce of the materials. And we are struggling with the new technologies such as prefabricated construction. Finding skilled labor is another significant challenge emerging nowadays, and that's why as a solution prefabricated construction is being initiated in the construction industry. High land prices is another issue for the investors to build up construction projects in Sri Lanka. However, with the time being, it will become a manageable position. Taxation is another kind of consideration that we need to think when constructing buildings or developing infrastructure facilities in Sri Lanka. Therefore, there's a role to play from the Construction Industry Development Authority and the Construction Industry Development Act to overcome these challenges in time to come. But according to the recent reports, according to the World Bank's Ease of Doing Businesses reports, Sri Lanka is ranked as the 107th and 111th in year 2016, which signifies the ease of doing businesses in Sri Lanka. Here you can see the growth of the industry and the annual forecast. You can see in year 2020 from 2018 to 2018 there's a slight we are expecting a slight development of the contribution to the GDP by the construction industry. If a foreign contractor is going to be a contractor for a Sri Lankan project, first they need to do a temporary registration. They need to follow up a temporary registration process in Sri Lanka. In Construction Industry Development Authority site, you can find the further details about this temporary registration, and it's mandatory before initiating construction businesses in Sri Lanka. Future investment opportunities. Along with the Colombo International Financial City Development Project, we are going to have future investment, we are going to create future investment opportunities to the international delegates and international investors to come and invest in the Sri Lanka. Actually, it's touted as an international financial center and funded from Chinese investment. The city will have a separate legal and financial system which is likely to be governed by the Chinese firms that control the land through the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. And this is one of the megapolis development, and this will be useful in future investment opportunities. International Island, which is going to be constructed on the Port City Development Construction Project, also will be a beneficial area where future investment opportunities can be seen. And this is the master plan of the project, and you can see the significant amount of the area is allocated for International Island, where the international businesses can be initiated. Greater Hambantota Development Project is another possible investment opportunity in Sri Lanka. Along with the development of Hambantota Port, they are going to develop a greater Hambantota area as an international business and investment center. So it will be another investment opportunity for the investors. The last part of my presentation, supply chain resilience, which is my PhD concentration. Actually, I would like to, I don't want to go through the slides one by one. Actually, I would like to give you a brief explanation on the concept of resilience. Think of a rubber band. If you expand the rubber band and release it, the rubber band will come back to its previous position within few seconds. Actually, that is what we call as the resilient. If any kind of a system is resilient, although it's going through any kind of a disturbance, it will come back or return to the existing safe position with a very less time. As well, the consequences of the disturbance is not that much, and the outcome will be not affected to the entire initiation of any kind of an activity or a project. So the supply chain resilience also is a concept that have been broadly studied during the previous decades, Actually, it's the adaptive capability of any kind of a supply chain to prepare for unexpected events, respond to disruption, and recover from them by maintaining continuity of operation. It means without disturbing the continual operations and at the desired level of connectedness and the control over structure and the function. Mostly, people are utilizing risk management approaches in the construction industry or any kind of industry to mitigate the impact of the disturbances. However, it has been found that it's very hard to assess the risk before the construction is held, and as well, it's very hard to find out low probability, high impact events. So, existing risk management approaches doesn't address these issues, and also these risk management approaches are very expensive, and when something happens, only they will react. But if a system is resilient, it has a capability to withstand these disruptions at any time of the operation. So, supply chain resilience as a concept comes to the stage because of these requirements. Talking about supply chain resilience, it's the balance between capabilities and vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities, we can call them as the disruptions. The disruptions the disruptions happen to any kind of a operation. We call them as vulnerabilities, and there should be some capabilities to withstand these vulnerabilities. Actually, the capabilities are the capacity developers, capacity builders of any kind of a project. So, if your system is undergo through higher amount of disruptions, we call the system is much vulnerable system. And if you have adequate capabilities to withstand this disruption, we call this system as the very resilient system, where they have the ability to absorb these disruptions in a positive manner. So that is the rationale behind supply chain resilience and the resilient system. Now, as an emerging trend, now supply chain resilience also in the construction industry as well, but there are no any attempt has been taken to consider the supply chain resilience in industrialized, the prefabricated construction so far. Therefore, my research focus is towards achieving supply chain resilience in the industrialized construction. Talking about the supply chain resilience, I would like to drag your attention towards few more concepts. The first thing is risk versus vulnerability. Most of the people believe risk as similar to the vulnerability. Actually, these two things are two separated concepts, and I would like to take an example, and I would like to explain you further about what is the difference between risk and vulnerability. If a building is highly vulnerable to the natural disasters, it will be at a high risk of collapsing or incurring other damages. However, the risk of having natural disasters for each building in the same area is similar or equal. Similarly, a supply chain of construction type A can be highly vulnerable to the transportation disruptions compared to the construction type B, although both the construction types may experience the same risk of facing the transport disruptions. Hence, construction type A will be affected a lot and it will incur a higher amount of losses. Therefore, hope you can understand the difference between vulnerability and the risk. These are the research trend on the supply chain resilience related publications, and you can see the trending. You can see the trending evolution of supply chain resilience related researches during 2018 compared to the previous years. And this picture, this graph shows the researchers based on the country UK, USA, and Italy as the developed countries, they are contributing a lot to the supply chain resilience related researches because they value the concept of supply chain resilience compared to the risk management processes. And with the findings of theories, I have developed a theoretical framework based on the supply chain vulnerabilities and supply chain capabilities, which I am going to reconstruct based on the empirical data. Therefore, moving on to the end of my presentation, there's an outline. The construction industry in developing countries, they are facing a number of challenges and they are struggling, and on the other hand, they are striving for sustainability concepts. In Sri Lanka, the Port City, along with the Western Region Megapolis Development Projects, basically targeting the sustainable construction aspects. And as one of the sustainable considerations, supply chain resilience also emerging, and therefore this is the high time to talk about these aspects. So, before moving on to the end of this presentation, I would like to request your attention, and I kindly request all of your contribution to fill the questionnaire on supply chain resilience in industrialized construction in Hong Kong, and it will be helpful for me in order to do my research.
So, if you have experience in working with supply chain management in Hong Kong, is there anyone? Please raise your hand. So we move on to the
Q&A session.
Q&A.